stand is biased, and I think it's a little sexist thing, but at the end of the day, I feel like it shouldn't even be an issue.
Mm.
It should just be, oh, you're with someone that makes you happy. You're with someone that makes you happy. Congrats, y'all are happy.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl Raquel Mornings here on Move 24/7 with another episode. Today I have a grad student with me, and his name is Abraham.
Hello.
There he goes. Abraham is here with me today to discuss interracial relationships. So we're gonna get into that, talk about it all, the details, the complications, all of it, and really just talk about how there's difficulties, but at the same time, there are positive things to talk about. So first thing first, I think the question is, Abraham, have you ever been in an interracial relationship?
No, I have not been in any. I know it's kind of weird for me to talk about something that I haven't experienced, but I believe as a person, being black and all, that we shouldn't be scared of being interracial issues because it's number one, we should be past all the racism and black people are better than white people are better than black people. We have this and we
Right.
have that. We should just look at it as that person. If that person can treat me right, and that person can do something just for me, regardless of the skin color of the person, it shouldn't matter what skin color they are. That just starts with just you as a person and accepting who you are and seeing somebody else for what their character is and not for what their skin color holds.
Period. I love that. That was a great answer. Okay, so my next question for you would be like, what counts as an interracial relationship? Because we have a lot of people that were like, black and Hispanics or white and Hispanics, and you have black and white. What about like, the continent of Africa with the different countries? You have Kenya, you have like everything across Nigeria, all those different countries, and Black Americans. Would you count that as like an interracial relationship?
I would say anything interracial, which is if it's outside your culture, like you could say, like you said, Nigerians and Hispanic, whites and black, Canadians and or South Africans, just something that's not in your culture. That's what I would say is interracial, or like just different interracial, black, white, different cultures mixing all. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you think would probably be like the hardest thing for interracial relationships to have to deal with on a day to day basis?
Just adjusting to someone else's culture and understanding where they're coming from, because they grew up in a different way than you did. So you have to be a little bit more patient, a little bit more understanding because they might attack a situation or you go about a certain situation differently than you are. You might be a type of person that attacks something really aggressive and head on and try to get over with as soon as it comes around, versus another person just tries to assess the whole possibility of what they have to do before attacking the whole situation. It's all
Yeah,
about understanding people culture, showing empathy, and empathizing with the person.
yeah,
That's
most
what I feel like the biggest
definitely.
thing is.
I can honestly agree with that because my brother's girlfriend, she's white. And so, like coming from an HBCU, I mean, I grew up in a predominantly white area. So like I'm used to white people. I mean, there's no problem. Love them, love the energy and all of it. But then going to an HBCU and realizing like so much the different changes and stuff like that, I was just like, oh my gosh, yeah, like, I felt so awoken, like, you know what I mean, like it was a different light.
Yeah,
But like meeting her and her not understanding like our world and understanding that like there's certain things you can't say or there's certain things that you can't do that might not be okay has been different. And I love that I'm able to learn and be accepting to like her situation and that type of thing, because like, yeah, I always say like I love to understand different cultures, and it helps me appreciate my culture even more, just across the board. So just, watching him take the time to explain things to her and her take the time to explain things to him of like, oh, this is what we do for this reason, and him just kind of explain a little bit more about like justice or something like that really is interesting, I would say, across the board, because it makes me be more patient for sure. Because I mean, after going to an HBCU of being so many years around, like, so like being in such diverse communities and stuff like that, and then going to an HBCU where it's nothing but Black people, I was kind of like, I don't know if I want to go back. Like, this is where I want to be.
Yeah.
It was it's different. And then, like, when my brother started dating her, I was like, okay, like, I'm gonna trust her to, take care of you, in the way that I would think mentally that you need to be taken care of, just like as family wise. Because I mean, I'm just like, we're really protective of each other. And so I'm just like, if she says one wrong thing, it's game. But I have to understand and like be realizing to take a step back and be like, okay, I understand that. I respect that. And let's have that conversation. Like, what makes you feel uncomfortable so we can get to a place where you are comfortable. So yeah, I couldn't agree more with, if it's a different culture coming in, just being just being open to that. Like, that's what interracial relationships are about. And so let's really let's get into like why there's such a stigma behind, why there's so many people who get angry at Black men dating white women. Why do you think that is, Abraham? Because I feel like so many women are always like, oh my gosh, she's dating a white girl. Like, da da da. Can you believe it? And it's just like, at the same time, yes and no. But like, I really want to hear what you think about it before I even give my opinion.
Well, to be honest, it's when the black, when a black man is dating a white girl, it's more like they say like they pick the bottom of the barrel, white girls. Oh shoot. Sorry.
You're good. You're good. We still see you.
Okay. Okay, it's like they pick the bottom of the barrel, white girls. You know what I mean? And they say black men bash black women. I don't think that's what it is. Just social media is different.
Mm.
So really, this is what I'm thinking. Because I have female friends. I go to Alabama State, and they talk about how he should be with a black girl. Black people should stay with black people because they want to like desegregate us. Make us less. Or like they talk about how the colored population will surpass the white population in 2045 or something like that. And they're saying that they want to keep us down underneath them. But I don't. That's why the stigma of all that, all the conspiracies, all the other stuff. I feel like we shouldn't worry about that.
Right.
All those extra things, you're just there to distract you. And if y'all really think about it, y'all are really feeding into the thing that they want you to. I'm not saying
Right.
that's what they want, but we shouldn't use those things as a way of, oh, don't do that because they're white, or don't do that because it's not good for our culture and our community. It shouldn't be about that no more, especially nowadays. And it should be about, like I said before, character. That's what I'm gonna talk about a lot. Character and how that person makes you feel, how the person is treating you. I think we're so we're still stuck on the fact that back in the 1960s or whatever, they treat us like this, and they still have that thing against us. I'm not saying that there's not still racist people out there or people
Right.
that still don't want the best for us, but we shouldn't put that character or that characteristic on every single white person and hinder ourselves from even finding the person that might make us more happy than someone in our community, just because we don't like the fact that the way they treated us or what they think their agenda is for us.
Right. Right. Now that makes complete sense. I always say whoever's for us is who I'm for. Whoever's supporting the cause or whatever the case may be, there to help, march, speak out about it, and stand up for it, most definitely. And I think my biggest thing is where I'm okay with, like, races, dating one another and whatever the case may be, as long as you're not bashing your own race. I think that's probably like my biggest problem across the board, is like when I hear either it's a woman or a man say, hey, I don't like Black people because, like, I don't like Black girls, I don't like Black guys because they're this or they're that, or they don't speak correct English, or they always have an attitude or something like that, and then they're dating the opposite race, and then when they do the exact same thing, that's considered cute, or that's considered feisty, that type of thing. But when the black race does it, it's considered an uproar type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Like
that's
ghetto or something.
definitely like, yeah, where I stand on interracial relationships. Just as long as at the end of the day, it's about love and it's about how you feel about one another versus about why you're dating them anti whatever the reason is that you won't date your own race.
Yeah.
For sure. So here's another question. Would you consider dating outside of your race?
Yes, of course. I would only because I believe that, love knows no colors and love knows no shade or anything. It's all about how you make me feel and how I'm treating you. That's what I think it is. It's really that simple. You got to look past the skin color and what history of how their people treated your people. It's not about them versus you. It's about you and how you feel right now and how they treating you. That's the
Yeah,
only reason I say I would.
most definitely, most definitely. So how do you feel about like the people who are being born that are biracial, that have either a white parent and a black parent or whatever the case may be, that are born biracial? How do you think that, let me see how I can phrase this correctly. What do you feel about them having that issue of not being white enough or not being black enough? Like, how do you, because I think a lot of people, what I've heard and what I've like seen in different areas and stuff like that, a lot of people say, oh, they get confused because they don't know which side to pick and they don't know who to be. So what do you say to those people that are saying, they're going to be confused of who they are and they're not going to know which side to pick, and they get confused of who they truly will be and what's really black and what's really white?
Um, I feel like that comment is like it's very mean and very like not needed because at the end
Right,
of the day you're gonna be you're both. You're a little bit of both. That's what makes you who you are.
right,
Like I'll take myself for example. I'm not biracial or anything, but I was born in America. My parents are Nigerian. I have never grew up in Nigerian atmosphere or not in Nigeria. I've never been there for real. But I know like certain things about Nigeria because my parents are Nigerian, and I grew up in America, so I know certain things about America. So I'm American, so I know a little bit of both. So both of those make me who I am. Make me unique in the person who I am. So like a biracial kid who have a white parent and a black dad, or a white mom and a black dad, they're gonna grow up learning both, which is actually a plus. So now they can actually just learn about their culture and they can have that empathy, that already understanding of two sides and growing up
mm,
and strengthening their empathy and all these other things. It's really a bonus, I would say, for them because now you're understanding two sides versus always being biased on one. Not saying it's not good to be,
right,
black or completely white. Just saying that they have some that can open their mind up open to new
right,
things and new ideas, which is one way we're supposed to grow as a person. We have to be open to change and things are going to be changing and new ideas, new brands. If you want to grow and you want to become successful, you have to be open to new ideas and willing to change. So that's one thing that they can learn from being in that situation. It could put them over. That's what I would say. It will
mm,
help.
right. So and I didn't say this earlier, for everybody who's watching, if you don't know what a HBCU is, it's a historical Black college and or university. That's where Abraham and I both met at
Yeah,
HBCU, the best HBCU. I just have to throw that out there, but that's neither
Alabama
here nor
State.
there. Um, how do you feel that going to an HBCU has either helped you with like your standpoint on interracial relationships or your standpoint against interracial relationships?
I believe it helped me understand interracial relationships because I was able to go to school and see why some of my colleagues, peermates, were so angry at the fact that they didn't like interracial couples. Before
Mm,
I went to HBCU, I thought it was because they just, about slavery and this and that. But it wasn't about that. It was about how they said the black men bashed the black women of our community. And in my head, I'm like, black men don't really do it where I'm coming from, because in
right,
Texas,
right, right.
I never seen a black man say, "Oh, a black woman does this, black man does that." But them, some because they're growing up in Alabama, I guess it's different down there, and they're talking about how black men just say, black women are ghetto, black men don't let them do anything. But it was just me to understand and open up that it was. I explained to them it wasn't nothing about that. It wasn't about like them saying like black women do this and white women do that. It's just that they just found someone who they probably fell in love with, and that person happened to be white, or that person happened to be Asian, or that person happened to be not black, and that's not a bad thing. You shouldn't be mad at the fact that he's dating a white woman, or you shouldn't say I'm not gonna date a white woman, or I'm not gonna date a black man, I'm not gonna date a white man because of the fact of his skin color or those things that you felt that were hate through social media. That's another thing. Social media does drive this generation. Anything you see on social media will make you, pick with either side. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So social media can be a plus or negative, depending on
Yeah,
how you
right,
look at it
right.
and who you're following. Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, how do you think social media plays such a role in relationships in general? That's actually a really good point that you made, because I think certain relationships, depending on how strong it is, it can either make it or break it. So how do you think in an interracial relationship, which is hard
Oh
because you
yeah.
have so many people, and let's speak from like a both standpoint, whether it's a black man or a black woman dating a white man or a white woman. How do you think, like, what is the situation that you think social media will play in those roles?
Social media will play a. This is what I would say. It's not even social media. It's what you're looking when you get into social media. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you
Mm-hmm.
go in there and you're looking for stuff that says, "Oh, this is why a black woman and a black man should date," you're starting feeding yourself that. But
Right,
if you go in
right,
there and
right.
look for positive stuff that's gonna help you,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna start feeding yourself good things. So social media plays a part, but social media is also like a double-headed sword, if you want to say, it can
Right,
hurt you or break you depending on what you're looking at and who you're following. And if you feel like the people you're following, your friends that are posting stuff that are not like helping you, I mean, you can go ahead and unfollow them. That doesn't mean you're not your friends. You just don't
right.
like what they post on social media. So go ahead and unfollow them. So you got to be very particular about what you're watching, what you're looking at on social media.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Because like we were saying, social media can literally make or break a relationship, with so many either negative comments and then people not being able to handle it because they're not used to that, or just so many all of a sudden positive comments, and then it's like, people are either trying the relationship, they're sliding in the DMs, now it's an issue, and the whole nine yards. So also let's talk about how in in most cases, which I have seen personally, a black guy gets more hate than a black girl does when she's dating a white male. It's more praise when it comes to the black female than it is for the black male. And I mean, I've seen that personally where it's been like all of a sudden, oh, he's dating a white girl. Now it's an issue versus, oh, she's dating a white guy. Oh my gosh. So like let's get into that. Have you ever seen or experienced that in your friends, or seeing relationships in other ways of ways that they've experienced dating outside their race, and then either getting negative or positive response for the male versus male, I mean male versus female?
I haven't really seen a lot of my black, friends dating white girls. Well, a couple, but I haven't talked to them in a while. But I do understand what you're saying. But I think that goes back to the stereotype of, how if you find a white man, if a girl finds a white man, he's gonna be faithful, he's gonna be there to have money, all those stereotypes
Right,
versus, a black man and a white woman, like, why would you do that? Like, I don't it's
right.
very a double standard and it's kind of
Yeah,
contradicting. I don't know why it's okay for a woman or a woman would get praise and a guy wouldn't get praise. It should be the same thing. I don't understand why that is, but I kind of have an idea based on those stereotypes. But at the end of the day, all of that I feel like feeds back to the bitter. I'm not saying any black person is bitter, but it goes back to the bitter black person. I doesn't want the guy to be happy, or they want his lineage or his black people. Black he wants a black man to be with a black woman because he knows that's how to continue, the black excellence idea or facade we have out there, and versus a black woman and a white man. I mean, I think that goes back to it's a lot of things. It could be it's a double standard bias, and I think it's a little sexist thing. But at the end of the day, I feel like it shouldn't even be an issue.
Mm.
It should just be, oh, you were someone that makes you happy. You were someone that makes you happy. Congrats, y'all are happy. So that's what I think is be buckled down to.
Yeah. I feel that. I understand 100% where you're coming from. Abraham, you might make some people mad and have them commenting below because you're like, it shouldn't be a problem. And I couldn't agree more with why it shouldn't be a problem across the board and stuff like that. So, like I said, you might make some people mad where they start throwing out history facts and be like, it's been years of hate, and which is true. But if we're trying to progress in time, I mean, we have to move forward in some way, shape, or form, and we can't necessarily be stuck in the past. Like, that is our past. It's good to learn about it and it's good to understand it, but it's also good to move forward and to expand our horizon. We can't stay in the same bubble, or nothing is ever going to change. We need to open our arms, our gates, and get more people in and interacting, just as far as like whether it's learning about the cultures or learning just about people in general, like what it is that Black people are growing up doing, or the sayings that we say, the drip that we do, just the different things that we continuously build. So I hope you didn't make anybody too mad in the comments, throwing out history facts and stuff. So I know there was, I can't remember what year it was, the bill was passed, but it's called the Loving Act. And it was this interracial couple that went, that were trying to get married. And then people ran them out of town and they were like, you can't be married here. And they had to go through like a long process of even being considered real husband and wife and being able to live in the same house as one another. So if that was in today's time, like, what is something that you would say about that whole situation? Even it being in the past, like, how do you feel about that whole situation where two races aren't able to get married because it's not considered an actual marriage? One person is considered 3/5 of a human, while the other person is considered a whole person. So how do you feel about the Loving Act and them approving, interracial relationships to be married across the country?
So you're saying if that happened today, or if that was still a thing today?
Yes.
How would I feel?
Both. And how do you feel about it happening in the past?
Okay, first I'm gonna say about the past. The past, there was a stigma going around that white people were superior to Black people, or any race in general in America for some reason.
Right.
Which was kind of weird because all of us, we were all the same. We just that our skin color was different. We had the same organ, the same everything inside was the same. Just that your skin color was white and mine was Black, and that has to come from a very hard-headed, narcissistic, like, it's just how they feel like they're just the best. Like, it's all about them. That's where it came from. And I believe the generation that was probably trying to have an interracial relationship was probably past the fact that we are better than everyone. And it was just an idea of society or the older people accepting the fact that we're all the same.
Right.
So it's going to be hard because back then, especially back then, it's going to be hard because people still have that mindset of, no, you're Black, I'm white, I'm better than you, shouldn't be with you. So it's back then, it's just me like trying to talk to a brick wall. But nowadays, I'll say if that happens, and there's so many things going on, not even only interracial, you have LGBTQ now getting married and all that other stuff. Now, if you letting all that other stuff happen and you're saying that interracial stuff can't happen, you're like, it's just crazy nowadays, Like, you're gonna be like dumbfounded because you're trying to say something that's so simple, and you just want to be happy. You know what I mean? That's simple. That's the bottom line. You just want to be happy.
Yeah.
Versus back then, they didn't care if he made you happy or not. You're not gonna be with him because of his skin color. It's just that simple of a fact back then. But nowadays, I feel like it'd be just someone to even try to do that would be just like, are you serious? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, most definitely. Like you were saying, you have all these different communities that are, getting involved with, the interracial relationships. You mentioned the LGBT community and everything, like, because a lot of the, I would say, from what I've seen, now I could be completely wrong, but a lot of the LGBT community members are interracial relationships, um, from what I've seen, like either based on a movie or based in real life. I've seen a lot of interracial relationships that are in the LGBT community. So I'm actually glad that you had brought that up, because that makes a great and excellent point, just across the board. I think it's very important that we learn different cultures across the board. I've said this a million times and I'll say it again. I say that the Muslim culture helps me become a better Christian the more I learned about it, because it's just like the fact that they're able to take, and monks, matter of fact, the fact that they're able to take out the time to pray 5 times a day, the fact that they're able to take the time to sit in silence and hear and listen, to their thoughts and slow everything around them down is so important, because sometimes we're always on the rush and always on the go, and we forget to thank God. And we forget to just take that moment and just be grateful for where we are in life, for what we prayed for in life, and that type of thing. So to understand a different view, a different culture, makes me appreciate mine more. And so I couldn't agree with you 10 times. Like, yeah, what you were saying 100%, with the cultures mixing, and just, being able to survive on this earth. And because at the end of the day, all we want to be is happy. We
Yeah.
literally just want to be happy. Like, that's the end goal. I think it's everybody's purpose to just, be happy in their own way, to do what they want to do and find their meaning on here on earth. So I think that's so interesting. And here's one last question, before, we go. I want to know, how do you think people with interracial relationships are affected by their family, if their family is not supportive of them, getting into that relationship, saying, hey, I don't think, this person's good enough for you, or, I don't think this person brings anything to the table, or just being in that type of environment. Like, how do you feel about that? Actually, matter of fact, I have even a better question. Have you seen Get Out, Abraham?
I seen it, but I ain't watched the whole movie. But
Okay.
I understand. Yeah.
Okay, so Get Out. I'm not gonna say this is an example, but how do you feel? Because at the beginning, everybody's so welcoming, but the whole entire time, what they're doing is, trying to kill him. So how do you feel about that situation with, you know, just, someone bringing someone home, and either the family doesn't agree with it, or they're putting on a facade until the next stage? Like, how do you feel about all of that? Because I mean, that was crazy in general. That whole movie had me like, what is
Yeah.
happening?
I mean, I hope nowadays nobody's trying to kill the black man.
Right.
I hope, but I'm pretty sure people are always putting up a front, putting up a fence, when he's around,
Right.
because they want to seem respectful. But at the end of the day, they don't really, like it. I feel like two things, one or two things can happen. You're either gonna have you and your family are gonna reconnect, and you're gonna connect more on a deeper level once they learn that this guy's or this person makes me happy. They're gonna be more reconnected with you, and they're like, okay, this is who's making my daughter or my son happy, and I'm happy
Right.
for you. And y'all gonna all, bond and become a stronger group together. Or there can be a whole disconnect and a whole fallout. You don't like it, and she wants it, and you're just gonna break off, and you're probably not gonna end up talking to each other for a long time. They're probably not gonna come around for Christmas and all that. You're not gonna end up. It's just this gonna be a whole disaster of like, it's either you do
Right.
you do like it, and y'all change and become more together, come more connected together, You don't like it, and it is disconnect, and everybody just falls apart, and it's just a whole monstrosity, all because of the simple idea you want to be hard headed in your mindset. So that's how I feel about it. And the whole putting up a front, they're just really, if your parents are doing that, you're just really stressing yourself out. Just because you're
Right.
being two faced now. Now when they come around, you're gonna act like this, like you like it, but you really don't. And then when they leave, you're
Exactly.
talking all this stuff. You're stressing yourself out, and that would just end up you just. I feel like that falls more on the disconnect side because you're gonna end up disconnecting anyway because you're not truly happy for that person or happy for your son or daughter or happy for your brother or sister. It can be brothers or sisters, aunts or aunts. You know what I mean? It can be anybody. You gotta learn that this is what makes a person happy, not the skin color and all the extra stuff doesn't matter as long as this person is happy. That's how
Yeah.
I feel.
On the inside, yeah. Most definitely. I said I was gonna that was my last question, but I actually have one more question. Okay. So in this scenario, how do you feel for interracial relationships when it could be either a guy or a girl in their past? They have let's say did some racist things. Like for instance, I will use this as an example on I'm not sure if you saw what all went down with the Bachelor, but it was a black bachelor, and he had picked a white girl, and everyone's like, okay, whatever, we're all happy for you, yada yada, right? But then time continues, and come to find out, she was going like throughout college, she was going to um excuse me, she was going to like I forgot what they're called. It was some kind of like racist party where you dress up in like the 1800 wear, and it's pretty much like people were either doing blackface or putting on this type of thing and stuff like that, and she wasn't quite understanding why that was a racist thing. So how do you feel being a black male and hearing that type of thing? Like how would you feel if that was your girlfriend and she did something in that, like in her past, like where do you
Wait,
stand
so
on that?
so she told me she did stuff like that?
No, she didn't tell you. Like it came up on social media across everybody's everything, right? Came up on social media, and everyone's like, they were posting it, sharing it and stuff, and then she was like, oh yeah, I did that, like, but I don't see what's the problem behind me going to one of those parties. It's something that I grew up doing. It's been a part of my life. How do you feel about that? Like she's your girlfriend. Y'all been together long time, and then all of a sudden that's something you're experiencing. How do you feel about hearing that? Like, what is something that
Wait,
you think you would do?
wait. So you said she didn't see nothing wrong with it.
Right.
Even to the day y'all are together, she still
Yeah,
didn't.
like it together. Y'all are together right now, and y'all are talking, and you're like, why were you going to these parties? Like, what was that like? What was that supposed to mean? Why were you doing that? She was like, it's just for fun. We used to do it all the time. What's wrong?
Oh, so she doesn't know. Well,
Yeah.
first, okay, I'd explain to her what it is, and if I explain to her and she still doesn't understand or she's being hard-headed about the situation, then that becomes an issue. But if I explain to her and she's like understanding, oh, this is what this means, then I wouldn't get mad. I'm the type of person is as long as you understand what's going on and what the situation is, and you're knowing not to do the same thing over again, then I'm okay to accept you.
Right.
But if you're the type of person, if I'm telling you something and you're not listening and you think you're right and you're gonna do it again just because you're trying to get back at me, then I don't think this relationship should go on. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's what I would say I would do in that situation. Just explain to her because it's looking like she doesn't know what she was doing. She was doing it for fun because her other friends are going. They were white and maybe they knew it and they didn't, or maybe they didn't know and they're just all doing what everybody else was doing. So I'll have to explain to them that whole situation. It's like when a little kid, you know, some of us we learn how to throw the middle finger, and we're doing it all the time. We think it's fun and games. Everybody was
Right.
doing it, but then someone explains to us what it is, and now we know, oh, that we shouldn't be doing it. That's the type of situation I'm looking at it as, just a
Mm.
learning and growth situation.
So you're willing to say, "Hey, that was wrong," and if she's sitting there like, "Okay, I understand that was wrong. I apologize. I don't want to do anything like that again. can we move forward, you're willing to take that step. But if she's like, I don't see what's the
Yeah.
problem, then it's a whole different situation. You have to take a step back and reevaluate. Yeah, I get that 110%. Yeah, most definitely. And it's just being open and understanding to where you might be wrong, or understanding what the situation might be for you, in a sense of like just understanding everything that's going on in the relationship. Because I mean, adding like a racial issue on top of all the other problems that you have, gosh, that's more. It's a lot. Like it's a whole bunch to even talk about, because relationships in general are hard. You have to work on them. Nothing is easy. So I get that 110%. All right. This was a fun topic. I'm glad that we were able to talk about this. I'm glad you came on, Abraham. If you guys don't know, Abraham is a TikToker. He's an up and coming TikToker. He's doing the thing. His videos make me laugh all the time. So Abraham, how often do you post?
I try to post at least twice a day.
Oh,
twice a day.
Yeah, that's a good bit.
But sometimes I take my videos down just to reevaluate the video and see what I can do to make it better. My TikTok name is my name, Abraham Adesipe. Yeah, if you want to go ahead and follow me on TikTok. But my content is mainly, comedy, certain gist to make you laugh and make you feel happy. That's my whole thing. Just trying to make you laugh, feel happy. Yeah.
So you say your content is about making you laugh and making you be happy. Mm-hmm. What is something that you typically tend to post
about? I try to find duets that are funny and humorous to people of all ages, from little kids to grown adults. That's my whole idea. I even do stitches and all that. Yeah.
That's awesome. So I'll be sure to put your information on the slide to make sure you guys are looking out for that. To follow him on Instagram, follow him on TikTok. He is doing it all. He is a grad student as well, so that means he's smart. Awesome. I love it. I love to see that you're doing great. I'm so happy that you're able to come on here and talk to me just about interracial relationships and the difficulties people might experience, because I know for sure it is not easy for those who are going through it. And, I commend them and hand claps to them, because I know it's not easy. So that's great. But thank you so much, Abraham, for coming on. No problem. I appreciate it. This was another episode of New 24/7. I'm your girl, Raquel Mornings, and that was Abraham. And I will see you guys next week. Peace. Ready? Smile. 3, 2, 1.